So today's program is Predictive Intelligence and Smart Buildings, Transforming Smart Restroom Management, presented by Kimberly-Clark Professional. And really, when we think about this, we're looking at a space many organizations can overlook, the restroom. When it's analog, it's a cost center. When it's connected, it becomes a strategic signal, leading the building with real usage data, guiding service before issues surface, and quietly lifting satisfaction across the facility, something all of you want. Our two expert panelists today will connect the dots between predictive models, intelligent servicing, and the human workflows that make them real. The human workflows are you, those on our webinar today. So we have with us Karen Ross and Ryan Wagner. Karen, I turn it over to you, and I'll see you at the end for the Q&A.
Great. Thank you, Jeff. Hello, everybody. Glad to see everybody on here and taking your day to hang out with us. So as Jeff mentioned, this is our webinar, Predictive Intelligence in Smart Buildings. We're really excited to have everybody here today. We're going to be diving into this topic that has become increasingly relevant in today's connected world and workplace. We're going to spend the next several minutes. We're going to be looking at what smart restroom technology is exactly, the problems that it solves, what implementation looks like, and provide some real-world examples. Whether you're here as a facilities manager, if you're a business leader, or if you're just curious about how technology is reshaping everyday spaces, we really think that there's a little bit of something for everybody here today. And our goal is we want you to walk away with at least one new nugget of information to help you make decisions that is best for your facility. And so before we dive into the detail, just so you know who you're hearing from today, like I said, I'm Karen Ross. I lead our Onvation business, which is our smart restroom software program here at Kimberly-Clark. I've been with Kimberly-Clark for over 18 years now. I'm based in Atlanta, Georgia. I put in the chat, go Penn State, even though it's been a little bit of a tough season this year. But really excited to be here and really excited to see just how much technology has become more and more prevalent in the restroom space. Has not always been the case in years past, but we're really seeing increased needs here and excited to dive into that today.
Thanks, Karen. And my name is Ryan Wagner. I manage our Onvation Restroom Technology Specialist team. And as Karen mentioned, we're not just presenters. We've worked alongside teams like yours for 40 plus years of combined experience, and we're really happy to be here today. So let's get started. Facility leaders today are under more pressure than ever. They're forced to do more with less as costs rise, expectations soar, and every decision shapes the guest experience. So we know rising costs with tighter budgets, guest expectations at that all-time high, labor is stretched thin, and there's a pressure to stay ahead of industry standards. And these mounting challenges make it essential for organizations to adopt predictive, smart building technologies that truly empower teams to deliver consistent, high-quality service despite the limited resources we all have. So what makes a building smart? Smart buildings are revolutionized by intelligent systems that not only optimize energy and space, but also anticipate occupant needs. And they truly transform every corner, including restrooms, into hubs of efficiency and innovation. So really, smart buildings leverage intelligent systems to optimize energy use, connected data to improve space utilization, and then real site insights to enhance occupant experience. And the core idea is that smart buildings just don't react, they anticipate needs through predictive technology. And we hear a lot of this. We are being asked to clean based on task-based versus results-based cleaning. And this will help with that. So restrooms are the heartbeat of every facility, believe it or not, where guest impressions are made, costs accumulate, and operational challenges are most visible, making them the ultimate proving ground for smart building innovation. And restrooms, they represent significant operating costs and put a strain on labor resources. So we know if restrooms aren't excluded from your smart building strategy, you're missing a major opportunity for improvement. So they should be included. By making restrooms part of that smart ecosystem, you can transform them from a pain point into a showcase of efficiency and guest satisfaction. And smart restroom management leads to fewer complaints, lower costs, and happier guests. We see it time and time again with a lot of our case studies. And when you elevate your restrooms with predictive intelligence, you elevate the entire building experience. So I'd ask you to let's try to flip the script. Restrooms aren't just a cost center. They're an opportunity to wow your guests and empower your teams. And when you make restrooms smart, you make your building a lot smarter. So why now? I'm here to tell you we're standing at the tipping point, really, of a smart building revolution where technology is transforming every corner of our facilities, including the restrooms. The number of connected devices in commercial buildings is set to double in the next 5 years, with over 4 billion IoT devices projected by 2030. Smart technology is no longer optional. It's truly becoming the new standard. And as we know, guest expectations for cleanliness and reliability are higher than ever, making restrooms more critical focus for facility leaders. Custodial teams are being asked to do more with less, and smart solutions help them deliver consistent quality without burning out. By embracing predictive intelligence, facilities can meet sustainability targets, reduce costs, and create a better experience for everyone. So the shift to smart restrooms isn't just coming, it's already underway, and those who lead the change will set the standard for excellence. Prior to this, we received a question, and so I'm going to answer that now. The question was, what role will AI play? And so my answer is the AI is the brain behind smart restroom technology. We're all using AI, whether we know it or not, and we've been using it for a while. You think about when you check out at a grocery store and you use a self-service center. That's a type of AI. So turning that raw data into real-time decisions, it predicts supply needs, detects anomalies, and optimizes cleaning schedules before issues arise. So really, it's not just smart, it helps you become more proactive. So let's get into our first live poll. And this will help us learn a little bit more about where our audience stands. Have you implemented smart technology in your facilities? Yes, we have in our facilities. Yes, we have in our restrooms and other areas. Yes, in other areas, typically HVAC, lighting, energy, or not yet, not sure, have no clue what you're talking about, Ryan. All right, we'll take a few seconds to conclude the polls, and then we'll review the results. And again, we do have a few more polls throughout the presentation and a couple of videos too. All right, Martha, let's take down the polls and the results. So looks like most have implemented some sort of technology, smart technology, likely more in the HVAC or lighting areas. And then there's a large part of you that are not sure, or there's still opportunity you haven't yet implemented. So that's great. Hopefully you'll learn something today. And I'll pass it off to Karen.
Okay, thanks, Ryan. Yes, hopefully over time we see that percent in the restroom increase. And I think you'll definitely see the need for that as we go through here. So yeah, we heard a little bit about what smart restroom technology is, why it's important. So let's take a look at what exactly the problems that it solves and what it looks like to implement. So what we have here is an image of what a restroom would look like in a situation where a facility operates in a very reactive model. That is having to wait for complaints, wait for product outages before going in and servicing. And that's, of course, by no one's fault, and that's certainly not the intent of how facilities are trying to be run. But the reality is that this is a real challenge when you think about how much space there is to clean, and the size of cleaning teams, which have become more and more challenged over the years. There's results from a study from 2024, a facility cleaning decisions survey, that showed how cleanable space increased 50% and average cleaning teams size nearly cut in half. So having to do more with less. I'm sure you've heard that theme before, and it's the reality. And this is what happens in that case in the restroom environment. And that reactive model creates more stress amongst the teams. It costs time and money, and ultimately can really damage guest trust. You think about those times you go into a restroom where out of product, out of paper, it's not working, like dispensers aren't working. I know for me, it makes me question how, this is how the restroom is, how is the rest of the facility and business operating? Definitely can damage trust. So this is really the pain point that predictive intelligence addresses. With smart technology, really, this enables us to evolve from reactive to predictive model. So you think about reactive, like I mentioned, wasted labor, higher costs, stress. Predictive is having more visibility, control, and proactive approach. Really going out of that firefighting mode and into confident plan servicing. And this is the type of feedback and value that we've heard directly from customers. One in particular, it's a stadium environment where they shared with us, weekends when they have back-to-back events, Saturday night game, Sunday another game on the books, really limited time to turn over. Having tools to know exactly which areas need to be serviced and prioritized helps reduce that stress and eliminate the need for more labor than is needed, and really feel confident in planning. So we've heard the values there, and really drive into that more proactive approach. Now, as we think more about predictive intelligence and what that looks like, there's really 4 key pillars, components of this. Starting with what Ryan talked about a little bit around AI analytics. So with these tools, really have the tools that predict future state, knowing exactly your cleaning needs, product refill needs before they disrupt service. Going to the second pillar, that real-time visibility, being able to see a snapshot in time, exactly to know where your product levels are at, which restrooms need servicing, really eliminates any surprises. Third pillar around the actual data itself, so usage and traffic insights. Having the data informs exactly how much product are you going through, is being consumed, what your traffic patterns look like, can really enable you to better manage inventory and the planning throughout the course of the whole year. And then the fourth piece, which not always necessarily top of mind, but just as important, is performance tracking. So think about, these are metrics that team leaders can use to engage teams with having clear KPIs. And we know that this really does matter to customers. We have a particular healthcare customer who uses these KPIs as a way to recognize their team and to build engagement. So they celebrate successes when their teams hit certain metrics, and this drives increased engagement with their team. And we see that drive better results. So increased engagement really helps drive those results and ties back to having that data available for the team to use and empower them. Okay. All right, I'm going to get into some of the more details now about smart technology and how you actually go about implementation. What we're showing here is a myth that we hear from customers, and why they may be hesitant to move forward with smart technology, which ties back to implementation. It's complex, disruptive, I didn't budget for it. It's going to be a large infrastructure project. How are we going to manage that? And what I want to share here is just a few reasons how we've been able to combat this. First one, with our specific system here at Kimberly-Clark Professional, how we've tried to combat this is with our Smart Fit technology that we launched earlier this year. So we have sensors that we can retrofit into existing Kimberly-Clark dispensers, along with several other universal dispensers in the restroom. And these easily install and then connect in with other smart devices. In our portfolio, we have soap and sanitizer, we have Kimberly-Clark and also Gojo dispensers that all work together as a smart ecosystem. So this gives us the flexibility to not have to tear down dispensers you already have on the wall, but to retrofit easily. And if you don't have Kimberly-Clark dispensers, that's okay too, because really when you think about how to go about refreshing your facility in a relatively low budget way, dispensers are a great way to do that. With our system, dispensers are at no additional cost when you opt in for our technology. So again, relatively low budget way to refresh and give technology in your facility, drive value, relatively low price. So that talks a bit about the connectivity. I want to talk now about another piece around connectivity. And this was a question that came in prior about how we can manage facilities that do not want to have external equipment on their Wi-Fi network. So we haven't got into the exact details here, but we do, to operate our system, do have to connect in to the system. And we have 3 different ways that we can do that. Aside from Wi-Fi, we also have Ethernet and cellular connection, which is really the most prevalent way that our customers opt to connect. Really, the key here is flexibility. And I'd say that's not true just for us, but other smart systems in the marketplace is really having multiple ways to connect to best meet the needs of your facility. Next, I want to talk a bit about open APIs. What we hear a lot also from customers is, if they're managing other smart systems, as we saw some of you on the call here today are, like HVAC, order management systems, you don't want to have to manage multiple dashboards. So is there a way to get all of the smart system data into one place? And by having an open API structure like our Onvation system does, we can pull in our data into your main other dashboard that you're using, so you have one-stop shop for everything. And finally, I want to just speak around the actual process of installation. Certainly do not want to leave customers on their own to have to figure this out. And so we provide install team and customer success manager, which is really an industry standard to provide, which ensures smooth implementation beginning to end. So you're never left on your own to figure everything out. There's a team there with you beginning to end. So again, key here around implementation is flexibility of options and being able to meet the customer needs and the needs of your facility. Okay, so enough of me talking for the next minute. We're going to show a quick video to bring to life exactly how the smart restroom works and just how simple implementation can be.
In high-traffic facilities, restrooms are central to the visitor experience, and even small disruptions can leave a lasting impression. To meet their expectations, restroom maintenance needs to be smarter. With Onvation featuring SmartFit technology, intelligent restroom management is now easier and more accessible than ever. Onvation SmartFit sensors can be installed seamlessly into compatible dispensers, enabling a smart restroom experience with minimal disruption. Once a combination of technology solutions are connected, you'll gain access to traffic, product, and service data and transmit it to the Onvation cloud through a secure local gateway that offers flexible connectivity options. Real-time notifications tell cleaners when and where they're needed, while a central dashboard presents all your performance data in an easily digestible format. Through accurate reporting and advanced machine learning, Onvation can help you spot never-before-seen opportunities for improved efficiency, waste reduction, and cost savings, helping you achieve excellence out of sight.
Okay, so that was one specific example of our system, but really just hopefully brings to life what predictive intelligence, that system implementation can look like. All right, I'm going to pass it back over to Ryan now.
Great, thanks, Karen. So let's take a minute and take a look at ROI. So a few points before I jump in. This specific example is not an average. It's just an example snapshot. And custom scorecards we send out to facilities on a monthly basis once we get them up and running. Most facilities do see the ROI within 6 to 12 months, and this is a potential savings. So if they are able to, and we work with you to change some of your cleaning behaviors, this is the savings that you can achieve. So let's talk a little bit about, we'll go left to right. This facility has 205 connected dispensers. So toilet paper, paper towels, soap, and sanitizer. There are 205 of them in the facility. Their consumable spend is around $75,000, and this ROI is going to show them $38,000 savings annually. And so let's look at each bucket. The labor efficiency, this assumes dispenser checks equal 1 minute per dispenser, and that every dispenser is being checked at least once a day. And we can reduce that check time by 90% with our proactive analytics, allowing the cleaners to do other things with that time. And so in this example, we're saving over 1,000 cleaner hours, and then we tie that into an actual cost. Now you can reallocate those cleaning hours to higher dollar functions. You can do a lot of different things depending on your cleaning protocols. The second is waste reduction. So on average, we're able to reduce waste in the amount of about 80% of your current waste. So you think about it, a cleaner goes into the restroom at the end of the day and maybe sees about 20% left on the paper roll towel. And they say, well, I'm going to take that out because I want to make sure there's enough for the next person that comes in overnight. And if we're not able to come in and replace it, I want to make sure everybody has enough product. So they may take that stub roll, and this is typically what a stub roll looks like, and this is about 20% of the roll. So you think about this, the amount of dispensers you have, daily throwing something like that out, that can equate to a lot of waste. And so again, that typically equates to about a 20% reduction in total consumable spend. And again, this is a pretty substantial hard cost savings that you'll see in waste. And then work order avoidance with Onvation, we can reduce dispenser related complaints by 75%. And we tracked work order complaints pre and post Onvation. So we had a question that was asked prior to the webinar, and the question was, is there any scientific study to substantiate smart restrooms increase efficiency or save resources? And so my answer is yes, there are studies and there are real world data that confirm the impact. Smart restroom systems use sensors like we talked about in these different types of dispensers. And they also count the amount of people coming in and out of the restroom. And that's where they use AI to tie everything together. And this enables predictive refills, dynamic cleaning schedules, reducing unnecessary labor and supply waste. And facilities report fewer outages, improved hygiene, and measurable cost savings. So there is definitely scientific data and plenty of case studies. All right. So dashboards. So imagine instantly seeing where your facility's biggest opportunities for improvement are before they become costly problems. With Onvation's advanced analytics dashboards and other health and hygiene IoT dashboards, leaders can spot long-term trends and act on real-time data to prevent those surprises. So this visibility, as we know, empowers smarter decisions and helps eliminate inefficiencies across operations. Real-time dispenser status means fewer emergencies and lower costs. The team and individual KPIs are always visible, driving engagement and accountability. And when leaders have these insights, we know they can transform their facilities and inspire their teams to achieve more. And so you typically get an app for the cleaners. We call it a compass app that dictates where they can go and when. And then the leadership team will receive access to a dashboard that gives you all of the analytics and data and gives you insights based on that. All right, so let's get into our next question. See what resonates most with your current challenges. So what's your biggest restroom challenge today? Is it labor shortages? Your teams are stretched thin? Is it supply, waste, inventory control? Could be unexpected outages, emergency cleanups, maybe guest complaints, rising expectations, or all of the above. And I can't tell you how many times when we're with a customer, we hear all of the above. They'll say, Ryan, we are stretched in every which way. We have to reduce costs, we have to reduce inventory, and our budgets are smaller. So we need some help. All right, let's close out the poll, Martha. Great, and let's see, it looks like labor stretched thin and quite a few all of the above. So not really a surprise there. And the great part about Onvation and these connected technologies is that's the largest area that it helps is in that labor savings or labor recalibrating and reallocating. Okay. So Karen, I will hand it off to you.
All right, we're in the home stretch here. All right, so I'm going to zoom back out and take a look at smart tech in the perspective of customers. So let's take a look at specific customers and also segments where this makes sense. What I want to emphasize here is that smart tech is really relevant across a wide variety of segments. And when we first introduced, it was very much focused in the office building space. While definitely still relevant, really have expanded focus into areas, really high traffic venues. So think of stadiums, airports, convention centers, really where there's a lot of foot traffic, a lot of space to have to manage. And as I mentioned previously, like I said, we're having to do more with less. So really the relevance is, applies across the board. I guess just to make it a little bit more interactive here, if you could, curious to hear just from the audience here, what type of facility you are working from today. So are you in an office? Are you in a hospital environment? Curious if folks can put there in the chat. Office, all right. Yes. We've definitely seen the office trends change pretty dramatically over recent years. I went from being fully staffed, fully busy, to empty and now ramping back up again. It seems to be pretty common across the board. Some schools, hospital, office. Okay. Lots of office folks. All right. So yes, so again, really applicability across the board. I want to take a look here at a specific customer. This is Paramount Building Solutions, national facilities provider. We're going to speak a bit about what the smart restroom technology, the impact it had for them, and you'll hear very much driven around like tenant customer satisfaction.
We knew going into this that we were going to engineer the restrooms in such a way that we were going to incorporate smart restroom technology.
Onvation is one of those technologies that's just unique. It's leveraging your analytics and it's giving you feedback to be able to help you conserve in your building.
We can finally pinpoint manage use, where we need product, where we bring product to.
Onvation is simple to use and I can monitor all my restrooms or my buildings with my phone. Instead of wasting time checking all the dispensers, you only service what's on the application because it tells you that it's out.
To give our cleaners the best technology and the ability to really focus in on what they do well, which is to deliver a clean restroom. And being able to take and leverage that time has given us ratings with customer satisfaction within our buildings that just couldn't be matched anywhere else. The tenant satisfaction surveys from Kinsley rose from a 3.0 to a 4.7.
When we're leasing space, when we're talking to prospective office tenants, it's important for us to show off our sustainability characteristics and what brings us to that point.
The product is all designed to be 100% used.
Onvation is just an incredible tool.
If they don't have Onvation, they're really missing out. Onvation is saving money.
That's just one example. So, want to also share, there was a question prior to this asking about how many large buildings, corporate buildings, already have used smart restroom technology. You can say that there's, it's estimated in the thousands of building range across the whole smart restroom market in North America. Specific to our business, we currently have over 50 customers, which is continuing to rise. We're other players in the market as well, and it's definitely a trend that we're continuing to see increase year over year. All right. So to summarize, really from the customer lens, what really brings the key value here from predictive intelligence, making sure we're making the most of every labor hour. We talked a lot about labor productivity challenges and how these tools can really direct staff to where they are needed most. That's really key piece number one. And then as we heard in that video we just watched and what we've been saying around building trust with guests. So having predictive servicing to ensure consistency, product stocked, clean, reliable, ultimately builds that trust and strengthens your brand reputation. All right. Now, the final poll that we're going to do here, now that you've heard a bit about smart technology, how it can be applied, if you think about your facility specifically, how do you see smart technology helping you elevate your facility? So reduce waste and optimize product usage, enhance cleanliness and guest satisfaction, make data-driven decisions for better outcomes, improve staff efficiency, gain visibility into traffic and product consumption. If there's another one that we haven't even hit on and you'd like to comment, definitely please put that in there as well. I'll give a few seconds to click all the X's. Okay, and this will be our final poll. Hopefully we've been going through here. We've been also hopefully coming up with some questions that we can go through in just a few in our Q&A. All right, I think we can wrap up the poll. Let's see what the crowd said. Oh, that's good across the board. Pretty even mix across. So something for everybody that really smart tech can help you with in your facility. Okay. All right, gonna send it back to Ryan to bring us home.
All right, thanks, Karen. So as we've said, restrooms are no longer just that facility necessity. They're really a brand defining opportunity to build trust and deliver excellence. Predictive insights truly empower you to move beyond the emergencies and create consistently reliable experiences for every guest. So we talked about today with real-time data, you can ensure restrooms are always stocked, they're clean, and they're ready, reinforcing your commitment to quality. And this level of consistency not only reduces costs, but also strengthens your reputation. So when you elevate your restrooms, you're elevating your entire building and guest experience. So with that, let's go to the next slide, Karen, and I think we'll open it up for any questions that we might have.
Okay.
Great job, guys. I think I agree about comments about restrooms. They're small footprint, but a huge impact. and a dirty restroom, it's hard to get that out of your head when you go into a building. It's just terrible. So, and running out of products and everything. But we do have some questions. Are you ready for them?
Let's go.
Okay. I want to mention to those with us still, if you have questions to ask now, you can put them in the chat feature here. And I see Luis just added one. How can a BSC get access to the program? Is it through a distributor? What do you think, Karen?
They can actually work directly with us, not through
Okay.
distribution. Yep, we can work directly with us and together with the end user.
All right. We just got one from John. Wi-Fi and cellular connections are not always present or available. How do you manage areas with the internet is not available?
Mhm.
So, Ryan, you want to handle that one?
Yeah, sure. We have different methods of achieving connection. So I will tell you, we have about 3 or 4 others outside of the cellular or Wi-Fi. For the most part, I'd say 90% of the buildings that we're in, cellular and or Wi-Fi are not an issue. We do have some buildings in New York City that are old, and you get into the basement, and they definitely do not have good connectivity. So we have established protocols that we are able to get connection, and that connection routes back up to the top of the building where we're able to gain access. So there are definitely ways around, and as technology continues to improve, it's getting better.
Thank you, Ryan. Karen, can you add to that a little bit? I know we had another question earlier about this, about connectivity dropping. Is there an action plan for that? Anything to add?
Yeah, so with that, I mean, so we use local gateways in our system that collect the data. So if there's ever an outage, our gateway will temporarily store that data. So when it's back up and running, everything's transferred to the cloud. So you're never losing data when the connectivity goes down. You will, there'll be a delay in that real-time alert status, but our team is working behind the scenes. We have full visibility over connectivity at every single site. And so we can problem solve and be working with the providers to make sure that comes back online as quickly as possible.
Yeah, internet dropping is a reality we all have at times, and it even happens during webinars,
Thankfully, so
which
far we've been okay, but not that
so
go
far
back.
so good. Yeah, it can happen. So thank you for that, Karen. Karen, let's stick with you on this question that we received in advance. Do you have any data that tells us how many large corporate buildings have already employed smart restroom technology? That's a good question.
Yes, yes. So there's not specific stats on specific to smart restroom buildings. I'm like looking at the data, it's estimated in the thousands range. If I just think about us alone having 100 and growing, and we have other folks in the market too, I mean, I would say in the thousands, definitely. Big opportunity though to keep expanding.
Everywhere you go, things are just getting more technical and advanced in a good way.
Oh yeah,
So you're right. This is the time to jump on this for sure.
yes.
Ryan, anything to add there?
No, I would just say, prior to COVID, the technology was really built for, we called it the vertical building with a lot of floors. And post-COVID, as the technology's gotten better and pain points are different now, we're seeing it in the horizontal building too, with a lot of space and a lot of restrooms. So it's really, as Karen had mentioned before, we're seeing it in every segment. Customers coming to us asking for help with that labor savings, among other things.
All right. Appreciate that. So we have a question about the cost of the system. Is it per connected device? Do we want to cover that?
Yep, we can
Go
talk
ahead,
about
Karen.
that. Yep, we offer a monthly service fee, and it is at a per dispenser price. So we tend to range, $6 to $10 per dispenser. We do have some promotional pricing going on right now, though, to bring that price down. And then, with that, we have different options too. Payment up front, you'll get other discounts, flexible payment plans, stuff like that. And then as Ryan had shared previously, with this, anytime we give you your price, we're going to also show you your ROI calculator alongside. So here's how much you spend, here's how much you can anticipate to achieve in savings.
Like everything else that they need to talk to you about their specific facility.
Oh, yes.
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 Okay.
All customized. Yes.
Yeah. Another question just came in on the chat. What challenges do you typically see with the end user IT department? Oh boy. Brian, do you want that one or?
Yeah, I'll take that one.
Okay.
So we've learned to bring them in as early as possible because there are challenges. So once we bring them in at the start of the conversation, we find it goes pretty fluidly. So we have all of the data protection and malware, everything that you can imagine. So once they see everything, they're like, "Oh, okay, we're you guys are good." We are seeing more customers initially asking for separate networks. So the cellular really was big, but now as new buildings are being built and there are so many more connected devices, we're finding that buildings are being built now with the technology or connectivity built into the building, and or a separate Wi-Fi connection will be established just for external IoT devices.
Thank you, Ryan. Let's stick with you on this next question. What rule of thumb tells you a pilot is ready to roll out?
Yeah, so I guess a good rule of thumb is the customer should have really a clear pain point, measurable goals, and I'd say the ability to act on insights if they're struggling with supply outages or labor inefficiencies or want data-driven cleaning. This is probably a great technology to start with. We usually start with some of the high traffic locations within the area, and then we'll build out from there. Some customers ask for a paid pilot or a paid trial, which we'll do for a short time. It is paid, and then we'll take that and it'll be rolled into your Onvation subscription. But yeah, I'd say if you are interested, we typically have a one pager that you fill out for your facility. It's called a facility profile sheet. And that'll enable us to give you a projected return on investment. And then we can open up the conversation to see if it's something that's you're interested in.
So thank you, Ryan. So a question came in about the minimum order number. Now I have 2.5 restrooms. I suppose I'm below that minimum.
Yeah, I'd say you are. So there really isn't a minimum. I will tell you that we see the best return on investment cases with facilities that do around $20,000 in paper and soap spend. So consumable spend, if they're doing about $20,000 or more annually, that's soap, toilet paper, paper towel, sanitizer. That's one. I'd say a second is that there's consistent traffic through the facility. Even though coming out of COVID, there were and still a lot of use cases where cleaners maybe have one or two buildings and they have people coming in on a Tuesday and a Thursday and then a Wednesday and a Friday. And the technology really helps them be more efficient in where they need to go and when. So yeah, hopefully that helps.
I don't know. I've been to Target a few times buying paper products and things, and that 20,000 doesn't go as far as you think.
It doesn't anymore,
Doesn't, yeah.
unfortunately. Yes.
But seriously, let's go to Karen on this next question. This is a fun one. How do you design dashboards and alerts that respect privacy while still bringing actionable patterns to light?
Well, I can say that so the folks who have access to our dashboard, it's not just anybody. So we set up specific, when we work with a facility, they'll designate who they want to have access to. And so we'll create, their profiles and logins specific to them. So it's not just anybody that can go in and see. And we, protect everyone's data. There's like strict data privacy laws that we abide by. And yes, and then throughout the duration of your term with Onvation, you'll have those individuals have full access to that information.
All right. And Ryan, anything to add to that?
I do not. No.
Okay,
good
then
answer, Aaron.
our final question, unless we get an extra one in the chat in the next moment. So maybe we'll go to our next slide so people can see what they can do next, because we did have some questions in the chat that are specific to follow-up. So be sure to reach out to the Kimberly-Clark folks and get those questions answered about your facility. But Ryan, this one's for you, and Karen, if you want final word, that's up to you. What's the smallest tweak that had the biggest return in perceived cleanliness or satisfaction?
Well, Jeff, I'm going to have to go with implementing a technology like this. To be honest, it's really, we're finding customers that are just dabbing their toe in IoT for their building. This is actually a great starting point. If you're starting in that journey, or if you're already well on your way, it's a good add-on. So, again, it's adding real-time alerts. It's really not a big crunch to the budget. It's a monthly SaaS fee that you're paying, which is minimal compared to a lot of the other expenses in the building. And like Karen had mentioned before, you get an immediate refresh with some state-of-the-art dispensing that'll help continue to control consumables and waste, and it'll make the environment much more appealing for your facility.
Thank you, Ryan. And
I'm sure
Karen,
Karen
anything
will
to
want
add?
the last word, so go ahead, Karen.
That was very well said. Yeah, I would just like echo like data is power, and we're giving means to like give folks ways to not have to operate blindly anymore. I think that goes a long way. And having tools to empower your team, like I mentioned too, like just how important that is. Like that sense of pride to have data to use. I mean, that feels really good to have the latest innovation to run your job.
Absolutely. So as we can see on screen as we wrap up our webinar, ISSA Show North America is coming up November 10th through 12th. You can visit the Kimberly-Clark team at booth 5443 at Mandalay Bay in Vegas. And also there'll be follow-up by email as well. Be sure to reach out to them if you have any questions. But Karen, if you want the last word, you could say goodbye.
All right, farewell, adios. Thank you, everybody. Really appreciate everyone's time today, and we look forward to seeing you at ISSA and reaching out to us to learn more.